And Senator, what do you make of Dan Bongino potentially to be the deputy FBI director?
It would have been inconceivable that a person with his background would be head of the premier law enforcement investigative agency in the world. He's a podcast ideologue without any qualification to head this investigative agency with profound and far-reaching power over people's lives to enforce the law and also to potentially misuse the law.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams, Dog Waters, and I'm back for your next video. Now, I know everybody losing their patience. People want people to go to prison. I want them to go to prison too. And I know we seeing these leftists lose their mind. They're crying and whining left and right. But I got a breakdown for you. And I want you to just stick with me because I'm gonna break down the moves that Donald Trump and Elon made that are not meant to like get your attention. It's meant to get the attention of the moderates, the people in the middle. We already know the truth. We already been made free. There's other people that got to get free. Give us free. So we gonna look at how they all getting free. Yeah. We're gonna see how they all getting free right now. Let's go. Hold on one second. We about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dog Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we doing over here, baby. Let's go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams, Dog Waters, and I'm back. And we are talking about the things that are in the news that you should know about. It's the news is going crazy, but it's because there's a war going on, and the media itself is getting devastated on all fronts. And I'm loving it. I'm actually like, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. Let's start with CNN and Scott Jennings talking about Dan Bongino. Now, if anybody knows anything about Dan Bongino, he's had a hard on for the deep state for quite a while. Dan Bongino was doxxed to where people came to his house and attacked his family. Dan Bongino all of a sudden came down with cancer, and Dan Bongino has it out for Peter Shifty Schiff. And the news media, in its infinite knowledge and wisdom, of course, anybody that Donald Trump puts in office, they're going to attack them. But there's a certain way that they make these attacks. It's by, and I've experienced this, is by turning the reality of a person upside down. So, for example, Dan Bongino has law enforcement credentials. He worked as a Secret Service agent. He has a master's degree. But when leftist liberals want to attack you, everything that stands out about you, everything that's excellent, they try and shoot you that away. And they want to spin it and make it a negative thing. Because there's no grounds for their attack. I'm sorry, there's just no grounds for their attack whatsoever. So they have to create a grounds for your attack. And they have to create a straw man and then attack that straw man, then sell the public on who the straw man is. It's a particularly vicious technique to create a straw man and attack a straw man and then hang that straw man around another person's neck. But the media is good at doing it. And we're going to take a listen to Scott Jennings defending Dan Bongino while they attempt to do this.
But if I may address one issue. You just denigrated Bongino's law enforcement credentials. He was a cop and a Secret Service agent. You denigrated his academic credentials. He has a master's degree.
Just because he was a police officer doesn't make him qualified to run a 38,000 person, $11 billion budget agency, just like Pete Hegseth.
But you know what does? Because he
National Guardsman or everyone doesn't either. Thank you for your service.
The confidence and the pleasure of the president.
Whose judgment is terrible.
And I'm sorry that you are not yet over the outcome of the election.
No, because look at what's happening to our country. And I'll never be over it, Scott. This is dismantling our democracy in front of our eyes.
And this is why black women are being thrown off of TV. We'll get to that in a second. Because the left has turned black women into like raving attack dogs. I mean, disrespectful, mad, rabies-bitten attack dogs. And you're going to continue to see black women get tossed off of television because they've been weaponized by leftists. The same attitude, the same, I'm just going to bow to you. I'm not going to let you talk. This is why these women are being thrown off TV. And this is not an assault on indictment on every African American or black woman. It's an assault on an indictment on these women. Not you, but those women. And the key to it is what they do to other black women is they because of the same hue of skin, they try to make you believe you're like them. You're not like them. It's why you can see a migrant come from Jamaica and be out in the damn streets protesting against Donald Trump. But you come from a just poor, ravaged country. You live in the greatest country in the world, but then you attack the infrastructure of the country.
So you guys are okay with it.
You had a city that was smaller than the amount of people that live on this block, and he was the Secretary of Transportation. You had the guy who was stealing luggage. I mean, I think anyone who's defending at any point defending the Biden administration.
But this is the FBI.
So?
Okay.
Yeah, and this is someone who has a career in law enforcement for many years.
Does Dan Bongino have the qualifications to be the second person in charge of the FBI?
Yes. He has law enforcement. He has academic. And again, let me just stress this. I've mentioned this before.
So when you stack up
they
his
serve at the
credentials
pleasure of the president. That's the political appointment.
I know that is the answer to every question, is that Donald Trump wants it, so therefore it is good.
For political appointments, yes.
But when we look at, we're talking about people who are qualified and not, and you look at his resume and compare it to Republican and Democrat nominees for that same position, is he qualified?
I mean, first of all, I'm not sure all the people that have been appointed in the past have covered themselves in glory. I mean, some of them have done a terrible job and gotten in lots of trouble.
Look,
and this is a reform-minded
administration.
They got outsiders.
And see, herein lies the problem. And it's the same thing over and over and over again. It's why CNN ratings suck. It's why, but the great thing about it is they give everybody content. Because if you watch CNN, then you know what your next door neighbor is going to say tomorrow. So if you watch CNN News today and you have a conversation with your liberal neighbor, they're going to repeat what was said on CNN. I mean, that's just that. And it goes even further. Here's John Bolton. Now, we know that John Bolton is a warmongering murderer that has started wars all over the place. And John Bolton is going to talk about NATO, the UN, and the United States of America. Now, if you're not familiar with what happened, the United States of America vetoed a UN vote yesterday because we weren't in agreement with them. And the United States, as the founder of NATO, has the ability to veto anything that NATO agrees to. It's why you hear Donald Trump saying, we pay way more money to the United Nations. We pay more than our fair share. So when you hear a president saying, hey, we pay more than our fair share, you need to pay your share, and then you think you're not paying into it, and you're going to control it, and you're going to have the power and the muscle, nah, bro. Nah, we're gonna hold you accountable to what we want and what's in our best interest as the United States of America. And as it pertains to the Ukrainian war, it is not in our best interest to keep dumping billions upon billions upon billions of U.S. taxpayer dollars into the Ukraine. It's senseless for that money to go into a black hole. But you'll notice that Canada has came out and said they're going to keep dumping money into the black hole of the Ukraine. Why? Because that's them embezzling money.
Well, I think it's Macron trying to maintain his own position without pushing Trump over the edge and losing any chance of bringing Trump back to reality. I don't think that Macron will succeed. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, is coming this week as well. I don't think he'll succeed. I think we are now close to as close to Russia as an ally we've ever been in a hostile environment. It's a huge embarrassment, but I think most significant of all is that vote in the UN today was a clear marker. We are on the path out of NATO. Trump has already done enormous damage to the NATO alliance. Almost every time he talks about Ukraine, he does more. But that vote, with all of our allies on one side supporting Ukraine and condemning Russia's unprovoked aggression against Ukraine, with us on the side of Russia and North Korea and countries like that, that shows the NATO alliance is badly split already. And it's at this point, you take too many more steps like that, the actual withdrawal is just a formality.
And he says it like it's a bad thing. And I agree with the person who posted this. I mean, quite frankly, man, I don't feel like just because we because NATO wants to go to war, we need to go to war. Because right now they're proving to, in order to embezzle this money and to funnel money into the pockets of their politicians, and to take care of the military-industrial complex, they're willing to kill millions of people inside of the Ukraine and millions of Russians. And then they want to escalate it till it gets to World War III. And you got to understand, every one of those nations are controlled by the globalists. They're influenced by the World Economic Forum. This is why we did such a deep dive into the World Economic Forum and looked at them person by person, piece by piece, what they had been saying and what they were saying and what they predicted in the future. Because they want World War III. They want their great reset. And when you see Donald Trump standing up, the United States standing up to NATO and the UN, what you're seeing is the prevention of the great reset. And it's these people's job, these clowns' job, to try and get people to come into agreement with it. There really has to be something done with the United States media. I don't know if people have the stomach for it. I know I do. But there has to be something done with the enemy combatants in our media. Because it's going further than just disagreeing with an administration. No. These are enemy combatants who are trying to drive us into war. And they've already proved themselves to be enemy combatants from 2020 to 2024 with the revelations now of what has happened back then and what they were telling people back then. They haven't been held accountable for that, for withholding information, vital information that was critical to the lives of the American citizens. Now, on that same note, a very positive thing, Caroline Leavitt came out and she explained that the White House Correspondents Association is no longer going to decide who comes into the White House. This is a very powerful move to make sure that they're the gatekeeper, which is the White House Correspondents Association. They don't get to make the decision on who comes into the White House. And I can tell you what ended up probably provoking this. Remember, the Trump administration said, submit your information if you want to come into the White House and be in the press briefing room. Well, a lot of people submitted their information, including me. And then a lot of people didn't hear nothing back. You want to know why? Because it went to this group of people. And that group of people said, nope, we're not letting all these conservative YouTubers in here to ask questions. This is about the establishment media. But this move here is to break the neck of the establishment media. You get a James Williams in there to ask a question. I'm going to ask a question that you want to know the answer to. I'm sorry. It's going to be something that you and I want to know the answer to. I'm pretty sure people ask about the Epstein list and all the rest of these things, but I'm coming with the question that the people want to know the answer to. Not something that can be used as a soundbite. No, I want to know the truth. I'm sorry. I want to know the truth. And that's what they're afraid of. Once this transformation happens, whoever goes in there, let's just say a Benny Johnson went in there or Owen Schroyer went in there, because there are people who are extremely qualified for this and have a great presentation for it. The minute those people go in there and they start laying out questions that are open-ended questions that allow Caroline Leavitt to hit upon truth and upon truth and upon truth, the whole thing shatters. Right now, we have two things going on. We have the mainstream media ignoring certain things that the Trump administration is doing and not discussing them and picking what they're going to talk about. We have Google deciding what it's going to lift to the top of the search engine, which means that Google censorship is like a reverse censorship. You're not necessarily not allowed to be spoken about, but you're not covering it. You're not allowing it in the algorithm because you only cover the mainstream media. We will know when we've been liberated from the mainstream media when the things that trend on Twitter and trend on YouTube are what's trending on Google. It's part of the reason why Google has to be broken up. That would be one of my questions. I would say, Caroline, I'm concerned about what we see as reverse censorship, where Google is ignoring the things that are being done in the White House and pushing it down in the algorithm. What do we have an update on the case to break up Google? Where does that stand? That would be my question. And she may say, well, I don't have anything on that. Do you mind getting back to the American people on that? Because there's stuff that the American people want to know. Anyway, Let's hear what Caroline has to say.
As you all know, for decades, a group of DC-based journalists, the White House Correspondents Association, has long dictated which journalists get to ask questions of the President of the United States in these most intimate spaces. Not anymore. I am proud to announce that we are going to give the power back to the people who read your papers, who watch your television shows, and who listen to your radio stations. Moving forward, the White House press pool will be determined by the White House press team. Legacy outlets who have participated in the press pool for decades will still be allowed to join, fear not, but we will also be offering the privilege to well-deserving outlets who have never been allowed to share in this awesome responsibility. Just like we added a new media seat in this briefing room, legacy media outlets who have been here for years will still participate in the pool. But new voices are going to be welcomed in as well. As part of these changes, we will continue the rotation amongst the 5 major television networks to ensure the President's remarks are heard far and wide around this world. We will add additional streaming services which reach different audiences than traditional cable and broadcast. This is the ever-changing landscape of the media in the United States today. We will continue to rotate a print pooler who has the great responsibility of quickly transcribing the President's remarks and disseminating them to the rest of the world. And we will add outlets to the print pool rotation who have long been denied the privilege to partake in this experience, but are committed to covering this White House beat. We will continue to rotate a radio pooler and add other radio hosts who have been denied access, especially local radio hosts who serve as the heartbeat of our country. And we will add additional outlets and reporters who are well suited to cover the news of the day and ask substantive questions of the President of the United States, depending on the news he is making on that given day.
See, this is the tail end of the destruction of the mainstream media. You see, it's a multi-pronged attack that has hit them. It's a powerful, I mean, devastating attack when you really look at it. So we have MSNBC, which we'll get to that, firing Joy Reid. We have Disney about to not renew the contract of Joy Reid and Whoopi Goldberg. We have quite a few people being fired and laid off because they're not popular. I'm sorry, they're just not. And in an environment where it's hate Trump, hate America, that has the tables have long turned. What they're doing is not going to make those organizations money. And then this move by the Trump administration, by allowing new voices to go out, will utterly devastate them. They're done. Now, I would love to see InfoWars be in the White House. I think if Alex Jones himself was there in the press briefing room, oh my Lord, it would be the most magical thing there ever was. Because the questions that would be asked would open up, I mean, it would be so viral, it would be ridiculous. It would be like a dagger to the heart of the deep state. And that's what we need. We need that now. Because it's this, I guess they call them the fifth estate, which is the media. It's the fifth estate that literally is dragging us into wars and into confusion. If we don't have them, and I showed you yesterday, it was Pete Hegseth. He was at the table with, the leaders from Saudi Arabia and literally came under attack by someone in the media. It was the most disrespectful, dishonorable thing there is. And see, in other nations like Saudi Arabia, that person would have been tied up, gagged, and dragged and thrown into prison because of America's Judeo-Christian stance and how we are. We don't just grab you and beat the hell out of you. And I'm not calling for that. However, allowing someone to disrespect, the office of the President of the United States or the office of FBI director, that cannot stand anymore. So these people, it's entitlement to its core.
I'm not sure if anybody in this room has listened to Mr. Bongino when he talks about the past corruption at the FBI, when he talks about his experience serving for the United States Secret Service. This is a man who loves his country and who has honorably served our country in ways that many people have not. He understands the depth of the corruption at these institutions, which the American people reelected President Trump to shake up. And I think it's quite despicable to see many networks in this room who have had chyrons on their television screens labeling Mr. Bongino as a far-right podcaster. He is not. He is a former law enforcement agent. He is a former Secret Service agent who put his life on the line to protect this country, and that is why the President of the United States has entrusted him for this important role. He's also an outsider to this Washington swamp, and we often see that when outsiders are appointed to such coveted positions, a lot of people in this city get very, very nervous, and they should be, because Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Attorney General Bondi are focused on rooting out the corruption at these agencies and ending the weaponization of government once and for all.
I mean, it's winning. It's winning on a scale that, again, the American people aren't prepared for. Right now, there's a kerfuffle going on about, for example, the Epstein list, right? And let me see if I can find the kerfuffle about the Epstein list. I'm pretty sure I tagged it. Maybe I didn't tag it. But right now there's a kerfuffle going on about the Epstein list. And it's this lady, Luna, I think her name is, Anna Paula Luna, going at the neck of Pam Bondi about why the Epstein list has not been released. And then you'll find other people saying, well, you know, this Epstein list will never come out. It'll never come out. This is the closest you've ever been to having the list come out. Quite frankly, you need to sit your behind down and relax. I mean, when you really think about it, today is Tuesday. The conversation when she said she had the list was maybe last Friday. I think she said, I have the Epstein list. It was when Kash Patel got confirmed. So let's see. When was Kash Patel's confirmation? Kash Patel confirmation. When did that happen? Because, see, events happen so fast, nobody. So Kash Patel was confirmed on the 20th of February. Today is the 25th. The 20th was Thursday. Friday was the 21st, was when she said she had the list. So we go through the weekend, 22nd, 23rd, we come into Monday, and now we're into Tuesday. And people are acting like they lost their damn mind. We'll never get the list. We're not going to get the truth. Calm your ass down. Calm down. All you do is make it harder on these people. Calm down. I mean, we literally talking about last Thursday to now. Or last Friday to now. So we talking about 48 working hours. 48 working hours. Now, you know, there's, of course, if I'm paying Bondi with this kind of stuff going on the weekend, I'm sitting my behind down having a glass of wine and relaxing a little bit. Sunday, I'm going to church. Monday, I'm back at work. It's preposterous. I mean, it really is when you think about it. But see, that's how thirsty people are for the truth. But we don't have realistic expectations. Should you have the expectation that the list is going to come out? Absolutely. But should you have an expectation that the list is going to come out within 5 hours? No. You know there's people on those lists that committed crimes, right? And then you see there's news articles coming out where they're talking about the FBI agents are trying to delete things and hide evidence. You never once considered that maybe, just maybe, the FBI agents, the bad ones inside the FBI, were going to try and hide information that as Kash Patel came in, prior to Kash Patel coming in, they had set up all kind of roadblocks and booby traps. Never considered that, huh? Nope. I want what I want. It's my money and I want it now. It's my Epstein list and I want it now. Calm the hell down. I want to show you guys the woman that the Democratic Party is out parading around to be the next presidential candidate of the United States of America. And again, people will say that I'm probably hard on black women, and I'm not. I'm hard on these black women. Now, I want to be clear. These women. You don't find me I'm not a YouTuber that runs around just bashing black women. Like, there's a lot of guys who their whole channel is built on bashing black women. No. I bash these women because these are the women that's highlighted and elevated in front of everybody to make other women believe that this is what success looks like. And this is what she says.
If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Fuck off.
You see what I'm saying? No tact, no nothing. But that's what's being presented. And then when we get here, Jason Whitlock makes a really, really good point. And I'm not really a watcher of Jason Whitlock. Never been much of a fan of Jason Whitlock. I see Jason Whitlock going back and forth with various people online. And, you know, kind of like spats with people. But what he has to say about Joy Reid is very, very important.
The entitled mind is the most dangerous mind on the planet.
I agree.
And Joy Reid has a very entitled mindset. And that's why she is being, her demise is being celebrated all over the internet, and people are calling her the most racist person that's ever been on major television in the last 30, 40, 50 years. Now, think that through. Who's all the men that have had TV shows on national TV regularly, on some sort of major network? They're saying Joy Reid takes the cake for racism. How did that happen? How did a woman become the most racist person, have the most racist show on television? Now, again, hey, was members of the KKK, let's say David Duke, let's say, oh, what about David? He didn't have a TV show. He was a guest on TV shows. Show me the national TV show of the last 30, 40, 50 years where someone could be an unashamed racist on TV. Show me, other than Joy Reid, show me where they've gotten away with it. Oh, Tucker Carlson. Miss me with all that BS. No. First of all, Tucker Carlson's not racist. He's a friend of mine. But second, that's a false equivalence that does not hunt. It's a lie. I want to just start. Show me anywhere where a white person could do a cell phone video, a social media video, where they're allowed to say what I'm about to show you from Joy Reid. Show me where a white person in the last 40, 50 years could get away with this. I want to play SOT number 9. Yeah, SOT number 9. Listen to Joy Reid.
In America, there's a thing about both white vigilantism and white tears, particularly male white tears. Really white tears in general, because that's what Karens are, right? They Karen out, and then as soon as they get caught, it's like, Green Waterworks. White men can get away with that too, and it has the same effect.
Could a white person, white or black,
Nope.
tape a video mocking black people? Black tears! Oh, what about black tears? And like take satisfaction and come up with some name. Black tears, LaQuisha and black tears. Because that's what they are. They're LaQuisha. Could it happen? It could not. This woman sat on TV for 4 or 5 straight years. Going after white people, calling them every name in the book, calling black people with conservative and or Christian values, coons, Uncle Toms, every name in the book. How did this happen? Entitlement, the entitled mind. The entitled person, the person that thinks the world owes them something, is the most vicious and deadly person on the planet.
Now, I'm going to go a little bit further than what he just said, what Jason Whitlock said. It's beyond entitlement. See, she was weaponized, and her job was to weaponize other black women. So it wasn't just that she was entitled. She was a weapon. She was a weapon of mass destruction for black people. And she was pointed directly at black men and white men. Yeah, I'm talking about a nuclear bomb going off on TV every day. And so that's why her demise is celebrated. And then when you talk about her anti-Christian stance, oh my goodness, it gets even more ridiculous. But we got to remember, we went through a phase where coming out of COVID, we're actually going into COVID, it came out of the Black Lives Matter movement is where it started. When Black Lives Matter movement came in, black women were put in positions of power. They were specifically chosen to be put in positions of power because of psychological reasons, because it's hard to attack a black woman. It's like trying to shoot a unicorn with toothpicks when it comes to it from a media perspective, because you can always play the race card. You can always play the woman card. With a black man, you could just play the race card and that's it. But no. With black women, you have the female card and the race card. And then you have the feminism card, where white women who are feminists can get in line with her as well. They check so many boxes that it makes them dangerous. And so when you get a weaponized black woman in there, it's a huge problem. And I'll pose another question to you. How are conservative black women treated? And this is how you know it's weaponization. Kim Classic? No, better one. Let's just take the boss chick, Candace Owens. She boss. How boss treated? Call her boss baby. How boss baby treated? You see, they attack boss baby. I mean, they attack boss baby like a rabid dog. And guess who attacks boss baby? Liberal, white women, and white men. But see, it's not racism when they attack her. They're not racist. No, they're not racist. See, that's how come the scales is so messed up, the balance is so off, it makes no sense. Why? Because you got nuclear bombs going off all over the place. But you need a weaponized black woman like Joy Reid in order to pull this psychological operation off. Because in order for a liberal white person to sit there and say that a Candace Owens is a racist or attack a Candace Owens, you need to have a black woman with pom-poms going, yay, it's okay, I don't like her, get her, yay, 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 because in their mind, they have to get over the hurdle of them being called a racist for attacking black people. So if you have a racist black person leading, that's the shepherd of the sheep and leading the flock, it's okay. And that's what she was. She was a shepherd. And that shepherd got his head rocked open and needed to have his head knocked open. Here's another shepherd. Section 8, Barack Hussein Obama, Hakeem Jeffries. He's finna do his traditional hand motion. And I'm going to say this to all the Creole black men out there. Hakeem Jeffries makes you look bad. He makes you look like you are dumb. To all the light-skinned brothers out there, to all the Al B. Shores, he ain't too sure. But let's go and let Section 8 Barack Hussein Obama talk.
To hear from you that you understand the scale of the threat and you have ideas about how to interrupt what feels like something that we have not experienced since the Civil War in terms of the threat to our republic.
Well, it's certainly the case that we understand the scale of the threat. That can't be doubted. The CBC, which I'm a part of, definitively understands the scale of the threat. Our communities have been under siege, as you pointed out, since before the Civil War. I'm a direct descendant of those very communities. So we understand the struggle, the history, the strength of people like John Lewis, which we're going to channel. That's my experience. That's my personal experience. That's my family's experience. And so we understand that. And as a caucus, it's definitively the case that we understand that. Listen, we launched a rapid response task force and litigation working group. It's going to be led by...
This nigga look like he trying to land a plane. He need to be on the runway landing a plane. Man, if you see somebody talk with their hands like this is a snake, dog. Like he literally looked like he signaling a plane to land. Look at him.
Joe Neguse and, of course, a brilliant constitutional lawyer, Jamie Raskin, to be able to respond to and work with our allies like Tish James and others in part of what we are responding to. Listen, Elon Musk and Donald Trump, they're flooding the zone in part to create distress, to create a sense of invincibility and inevitability.
He said a whole bunch of damn nothing. Outside of equating Elon Musk and Donald Trump cutting waste at the government to the Civil War, which he couldn't get it all the way back to slavery, so he equated it to the Civil War. I mean, then he said a whole bunch of nothing. And this is the crazy thing. At least with old Barry Soetoro was a talker. Y'all don't know who Barry Soetoro is. That's Barack Hussein Obama. Barack was a talker. Barack had that it with him. He had that it factor. This dude right here, man. I mean, it's almost like he was in college, going to law school, and he's a DEI politician. Like the CIA rolled up on him when he was in college. It was like, yeah, we have this new DEI initiatives coming down the pipeline. You got the right face, you got the right skin tone, you got a good voice, you got the right hue. Yeah, I think we can do some things with you. Why don't you come into the office and have a conversation with us? I guarantee you, if this man puts his name on a presidential ballot at any point in time, the crap that's going to come out about him is going to be ridiculous. Because, he just looked like a slime ball. He looked like a slime ball. He really does. Let's talk about what he's complaining about. This is all about Elon Musk and Donald Trump trying to cut the waste in the federal government. And the thing that kills me about the whole entire let's just check the size of the government is it's almost as if the entitlement of these people who work for the federal government, it's like you opened the lid of a cooler. You went fishing, right? Caught you a bunch of catfish. Now, I'm going to gut them catfish tomorrow. I'm going to put them on ice. Well, you left the cooler in the back of the car overnight. The temperature was 90 degrees. The ice melted. And then you open the cooler the next day, and that smell hit you. I don't know if you know how catfish smell. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Some of y'all may not be fishermen. But you know how that smell is when you open it up? Like, oh, damn, these fish don't went bad. Oh, man, my goodness, I'm going to throw these fish away. It's almost as if they opened the lid on the federal employees, and now we're starting to get the smell of what's inside our federal government, and they're losing it.
Can you clarify for federal workers who might be confused who to listen to, since Elon Musk's post is different from what OPM is telling? I don't.
I'm sorry, guys.
Clarify for federal workers who might be confused who to listen to, since Elon Musk's post is different from what OPM is telling.
I don't think it's, look, here's the reality of the situation. There's one person we're supposed to be listening to, it's President Trump, and what the American people mandated, which is what we're doing. People need to be accountable. You need to be able to answer the question. If you couldn't answer it yesterday, you have till today. But the reality is accountability is real. I can't not show up to work every day. I have to answer to the president. And by answering to the president, I answer to the American people. It's very simple. Would you want to pay somebody to do a job and they don't show up to work? I don't think so. I could name 5 things, 5 bullets, in about 5 minutes of me coming into the office every day. If you struggle to do that for a week, there's no excuse for that. Now, you can have an extra day to answer it, but you better be able to answer it.
What clarification can you offer?
And let me pause right here and explain to you like this. Because I don't think anybody's explaining the genius psychological operation that Donald Trump and Elon Musk launched against the deep state and the bureaucracy. When they did this, they knew how these people would react. I mean, imagine for a second. He was in the government for 4 years, he was president of the government for 4 years. Within that 4 years, he had time to assess who was working in the federal government, their personality types, their leanings. And then we had a secondary election where there's the data as to demographics, who voted for Joe Biden, who voted for Kamala Harris. And then there's location demographics. And so if we know the surrounding areas all around D.C. for a 500-mile radius voted for Kamala Harris, and that's where all the federal employees are. And then we know that the psychological profile of those federal employees, which leads to wokeism and entitlement. When I come out and I say, hey, send me an email of the things that you did last week, 5 bullet points, I already know what your response is going to be because I know how you behave. So everybody's looking at, in my opinion, people are looking at this the wrong way. This is the single most genius move to show the hardworking American people how people in their government behave. It's an exposure campaign. I mean, and you see the media trying to twist it and say, well, there's confusion. Who should reply? Who shouldn't reply? The average hardworking American citizen says, and I just talked to a guy in the break room. He was like, man, how's this Doge thing doing for content for you? I said, man, it's wild. He was like, yeah, I find it absolutely amazing that, a person just can't say what they did this last week. He was like, I can list 50 things that I did last week. He said, I can list 5 things I did within the past 30 minutes that pertains to my business. And he was like, it's amazing. But it's deeper than that, ladies and gentlemen. It's exposing to me and to you, and we already knew this, but to the average hardworking American citizen who's in the middle, the moderate, the person that's moving from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party, it's a wooing of them, showing them, hey, man, you go to work every day. Let's say you're a pharmacist or you're an engineer or you're a doctor or you're a lawyer and you're moderate. You know what I'm saying? You go to work every day. And when they see this, they say, hold on, man, this is crazy. What's wrong with these people? It's an exposure campaign, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a phenomenal chess move that Donald Trump and Elon Musk made. And I want you to see it for what it is. That's why I'm telling you this.
I'm not sure why you're confused or why it's so hard to answer what 5 things you've done in the past week.
And what do you say to departments that have told their employees you don't have to answer?
I think that there's reasoning behind that. You have to understand some of these departments, obviously, we work with top secret information that perhaps you're not supposed to disclose. There's a lot of complications that I'm not going to get into, but there's no question that every single cabinet member, every single person that was put into this administration wants the American people working, wants people back to work, wants to stop the Zoom calls, and wants to stop people from double dipping and having 2 jobs when taxpayer dollars are paying for you to come to work.
Is the White House investigating any of the instances like that?
That's a question for Joe.
That's a great question. See, these are the kind of questions that need to be presented. Is the White House investigating the hacking that happened at like the Doge meme? That's what I want to know. Are y'all investigating that? Is somebody going to prison? And I would have presented it differently. I would have said, there's got to be a law against hacking federal computers and putting a video up of Donald Trump, the president of the United States, licking the toes of Elon Musk. When are those people going to prison? That would be the question.
Doge and DOJ.
Are White House staffers included in the ask by Elon Musk? Did you turn in 5 things to President Trump that you did?
I received an email. President Trump knows what I do every single day. So for me to answer that email is incredibly easy. Frankly, the American people see what I do every single day. So it's just such a non-issue.
Yep.
Think about the fact that we're having look at all of you standing here asking me why people are upset to answer to their boss, the American people, and the President of the United States, what you've done at work. What a ridiculous thing. I mean, it's as ridiculous as us having to say that boys can't play in women's sports. The fact that we are wasting American taxpayer dollars to even have to correct this is insane.
And that's the whole point. That's the whole point, ladies and gentlemen. The whole point is to show how utterly upside down and ridiculous the American government is and how bloated and stupid it has become. It is genius. People talk about 3-dimensional chess. This is 15-dimensional chess moves being played. And Hakeem Jeffries was talking about, let me go back to Hakeem. I want to repeat exactly how Section 8 Obama said it. Hold on, watch this.
You understand the
experience. I'm a direct descendant of those that have been under siege, as you pointed out, since before the Civil War.
He called it flooding the zone. That's what Section 8 Obama called it. They are flooding the zone. And for those of you guys who don't know what he mean by that metaphor, it's a football play where there's a zone on the side of the field and you run all these routes into one zone where there's not enough people to defend the zone. But what President Donald Trump has done, he's flooded the entire football field on them. And there's not much that they can do. There's not much that they can do. They can complain about it, they can cry, they can whine about it, but there's not much that they can do about this at all. This is a stance. Anna Paula Luna demands death penalty for U.S. intelligence agents who leak classified information to foreign enemies. The one thing that I can say, the one area where I'm extremely disappointed, but I'm being patient, is to me it seems as if there's this, I wouldn't say forgiveness for traitors. There's a little bit more patience being shown for people who tried to destroy the United States of America than I would prefer to be seen being shown. And I'm not sure if that's because everything is not in order yet. And we have to keep in mind that inauguration was on the 21st. And we're basically a month in. We're only 30 days in. And the whole cabinet just got confirmed. But I'm looking forward to us getting to a point to where there are some significant arrests. And quite frankly, a few cars blowing up in places. I mean, a few CIA agents that just, they were in Prague and their car blew up. That may be going on right now, but there's clearly an element inside the United States government that has to be wiped out, whether it be imprisoned or whether it be Epstein or whether it be Hillary Clinton. There has to be some things that need to be done. And I'm not sure that at this point in time, the Trump administration is cut from the cloth to do that dirty work. I think that's what I'm trying to articulate. I'm not sure if Donald was capable of doing that dirty work yet. We'll find out, and we'll see it when it starts to happen. I haven't seen any signs of it thus far, though. But it's not going to be, he's not going to come out and say, yeah, I'm going to kill all the deep staters. I mean, it's not going to be like that. You're going to see it in the news, but I'm not seeing any signs of it.
So very quickly here, a federal agent decides that they, according to CNN, CIA spooks are planning on selling America's secrets to foreign powers. This is clearly going to be something that someone like you, who's a veteran, takes very seriously. What will be the consequences if this report plays out? And the reason why we're taking it with seriousness is the byline of that CNN report are like all of the deep state leakers and reporters who do hack and leak operations regularly on behalf of the deep state. You could, clearly somebody is doing predictive programming, saying this is what we're planning on doing. What's your message to them?
Well, first and foremost, if you leak classified intelligence information to a foreign adversary of the United States, that is treason. That is by definition treason. And you will be held accountable. This is not the same Department of Justice that was under the Biden administration or the same FBI or the same CIA. To be clear, there is both good and bad, not just in Congress, but also in these intelligence agencies. So you have people that are true believers, believe in the Constitution, like this whistleblower that came forward, right? He came forward to Congress and testified previously, credible whistleblower. But what we have here is the CIA needs to go through and flush this out, because this type of behavior, basically politically motivated treason against the American people, in my opinion, if you have been entrusted to do this and you would put American lives in danger that could get us involved in another war, I believe that that should be treated as a capital punishment. That should be the death penalty.
There's no. What is the deterrent then at this point, right?
The UCMJ, and I Look, the UCMJ is separate from the rights that we have as civilians under the Constitution. But if you are releasing classified information that would put American in harm's way, in my opinion, and you're doing it because you don't like the president, capital punishment.
And that's what I'm looking forward to. Because, guys, you got to realize that the CIA, let's just say there's a dark side of the CIA and there's a light side of the CIA. And all the other clandestine groups that we don't know anything about. There has to be an active war going on in that space. It has to be. And you know it has to be because Donald Trump came out and talked about firing a certain percentage of CIA agents and laying them off. So you know there's a war going on inside of there. But again, when there's no consequences for actions, then people just feel like they can do anything. And I'm feeling like Anna Paula Luna is the one to do some things. But I'm going to watch her some more, and I encourage you to watch her some more. Another thing, federal judge rules that Trump administration is required to pay millions in foreign aid to nonprofits. Now, if I'm Donald Trump at this point in time, I will tell them, come and take the money. I don't give a shit what your ruling is. Pardon my language. Like, you don't have an army. You going to come and make us hit the button? But it just goes to show you, now this particular judge is a Muslim, but nonetheless, it just goes to show you how deep the fraud is that the federal judges themselves are going against the executive branch who said they're not spending the money. It's clear that the executive branch can freeze the funds. Now you're trying to demand that they pay the money to the nonprofits. The reason why that money needs to go to the nonprofits, Benny should have said to NGOs, non-government organizations. The reason why they need that money to go to the NGOs is because they can't fight this battle without that money. So I do not anticipate this money being released to any of those people whatsoever. And finally, the last thing I'm going to hit, guys, is the complete and total meltdown of MSNBC and the mental gymnastics that they're race baiting and calling everybody racist has done and the position that it's put them in. So Rachel Maddow comes out and says that hints at MSNBC being racist for firing Joy Reid. It was another, I think it was O'Donnell that came out and said that they were racist as well. So now the problem that MSNBC has run into, the network that has been the one who accused everyone of being racist, now the hosts inside the network are calling the network itself racist, which means you're calling the executives of the network racist, which means that you're weaponizing your audience against your own network. The most insane, crazy thing on the planet. And I'm here for every moment of it. I actually love it. It's amazing. And this is going to be a meltdown of epic proportions because this is the left literally cannibalizing itself. I mean, this is the left cannibalizing the MSNBC network being cannibalized by the same viciousness that it used externally to hit other people. And when I tell you this is going to be explosive, this is going to be mega explosive.
An even bigger programming change is at 7 p.m., 7 p.m. Eastern, where Joy Reid's show, The Readout, ended tonight. And Joy is not taking a different job in the network. She is leaving the network altogether. And that is very, very, very hard to take. I am 51 years old. I have been gainfully employed since I was 12. And I have had so many different kinds of jobs, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. But in all of the jobs I have had, in all of the years I have been alive, there is no colleague for whom I have had more affection and more respect than Joy Reid. I love everything about her. I have learned so much from her. I have so much more to learn from her. I do not want to lose her as a colleague here at MSNBC. And personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door. It is not my call, and I understand that, but that's what I think. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it.
See, it's amazing because now Rachel Maddow could have just said, hey, we really enjoyed having Joy Reid on. We love Joy Reid. We wish her the best. But no. You come out and attack your own network. And if I'm the network executive and I'm sitting in my office and I hear this, I'm going to say to myself, all right, hold on. What in the F do you think is going on? Who are you playing with? And then I'm calling her big head, long chin behind into the office. And I'm going to say, Rachel, sit down. I don't give a damn about how you feel about Joy Reid. Your show ain't doing the best either. And so when I plug up holes in the ship, because these are gigantic torpedo holes where the torpedoes was sent from inside of the ship out, not coming in, she blew up our ship, and these people have blown up our ship, and I'm trying to fix the ship. You don't sit here and come against me. And you better go back out there and make that right. You better go make it right now. Well, I don't give a damn how you feel. You better go make this right. That would be my conversation with her. But the left is eating its own, and that's what they do. So it's one of those things, man. Let them gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble, gobble.